it's Abby, and today I wanted to talk about why I'm leaving Seattle. The main reason why I'm leaving is because my parents are moving and I figured I would just tag along. I could stay here and then they would leave, but if I got an apartment, it would be pretty expensive, and then I also probably would have to get a car because you kind of have to have one unless you're in the city, and I just feel like it's quite a high cost of living here, and I don't know if it really made sense because it's just like, okay, I could be able to maybe afford these things and be okay, but it's like, would I actually be happy constantly spending so much just to live in Seattle? In addition to that, I do have a remote job, so it kind of feels like I don't really have to be in Seattle. But I do want to talk about like the things that I enjoyed and things that I didn't enjoy. Before we start, I do want to mention that these are my own thoughts, feelings, experiences. You might not have the same or feel the same, which is completely okay. All right, so to talk about the weather, it does rain pretty often, and I would say some months it rains constantly. There are days that will not have sun, like 4 or 5 days straight, no sun. And I started to question myself at times, and I'll be like, why am I feeling off? And I'm like, oh yeah, because there's no sun. If it's really nice and sunny out, I just like, I'm so excited to start my day, be productive, and just super motivated, pumped. And then when it's like gloomy, no sun, I just feel like I should either play games or take a nap. And I feel like that just has a huge impact on how I feel. And also what's really nice is it doesn't really snow here. Not saying that it doesn't ever snow here. It has at times, but it's not really anything that's concerning. In addition, the temperatures aren't that bad compared to Chicago. Chicago is like freezing. It's hit the negatives before. Here, I think from what I recall, I think the coldest was like in the 30s or so. I don't need to bring or wear like my biggest, puffiest jacket here. I honestly would rather have snow and like sunshine and it being super cold than it being not that cold here, not having snow, but there are days that don't have any sun. Like, I would rather prefer the snow then. And I also want to talk about food. I would say the seafood and the pho or Thai food is really good in Seattle. I feel like those are the things that really were memorable, as well as the experiences and the quality. Everything else kind of is just like a blur for me, also because I haven't really spent that much time or tried those other cuisines, so I can't really compare to Chicago in terms of like the quality and whatnot. But I would say that Chicago does have way more food options than Seattle, and as well as like it being highly populated with a bunch of restaurants near everywhere. Like wherever you're at in Chicago or the city, there's always just like a ton of restaurants nearby. Here I kind of feel like you have a ton of restaurants within different neighborhoods, and then they're kind of like sprawled across, but not as concentrated. In addition, I felt like when I was in Chicago, people were very considerate, super nice, super friendly, and very open-minded. Here, not so much. I feel like every time I'm trying to like approach someone or start a conversation, I'm like trying to side quest them, and they're like on their main quest and they just like don't want to accept any side quests. It kind of just feels not as comfortable, I would say. I've also can kind of compare. So like I wanted to start like a friend group, and I created one in Chicago. Well, actually I created more than one in Chicago, and it was really cool because like I would just like invite people to all meet up together. We would all meet up. I tried doing that here and did not work out. There's people who just constantly had something coming up, or they went hiking, or just like not the right timing. So it just did not work out. It could also be because like I'm in like my 30s and this is like the time where, you know, people are getting busy and whatnot, but it just felt like it was a lot easier to make friends in Chicago compared to Seattle. And the reason could possibly be because of Seattle freeze. And another thing to mention is that I'm an indoors person, so it kind of feels like there isn't that much to do here because most of the activities and fun things seem to be like outdoors and like hiking and whatnot. I think I've only hiked like one time. I did buy hiking boots assuming that I would become a hiker, but I feel like the only time I've been hiking is like when I'm shopping, because that's where I like walk the most. Also, to add, I feel like my allergies are actually a little bit better here than Chicago. I feel like when I went back to Chicago for my friend's wedding, I am so glad that I brought medicine because I felt like it really just hit me right when I like got there. But here it doesn't seem so bad. I also want to mention healthcare. Here it's quite difficult to get an appointment with like a doctor. You have to wait months and months, and sometimes some doctors are booked out. You can't even make an appointment. But like, I remember when I was in Chicago, I could see like a doctor within like the next week or 2 weeks. And it was so nice just being able to like have accessible healthcare versus here. It's like you have to, well, from my experience, I felt like I had to set an appointment at least like 6 or 7 months out. But yeah, that's just my experience living in Seattle and like the areas of Seattle. I just feel like now it's time for me to move on to bigger things, hopefully. If you got this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to make a guess on where I'm moving in the comments below. Hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye!